What's up, MotoFam? We are back in the garage today and we are doing more with our KTM 250 SXF build. This time it's a little bit impromptu because I just picked up this FMF slip-on and I'm riding tomorrow, so I need to get this thing on ASAP. It's just me, you, no camera guy, no fancy edits, so let's get straight into it. Now, I know what some of you guys are thinking. Why did you just go with the slip-on and not the full pipe? Well, that's a great question. Let me address it really quick before we start taking plastics off. I've done a lot of research and I've even talked to people inside the industry, and KTM really hit it out of the park with this header, especially on this 2022 KTM 250 SXF. And plenty of people in forums will tell you. To get into it, we got to remove this number plate, so we're going to use a T-wrench, and I need to get this frame bolt off as well. Your plastics may be a little bit different, but on the KTM, that's how it goes. First one out. Next up, I'm going to remove this 8mm, and it's going to allow me to get the seat completely off the bike and out of the way. All right, now I can remove the seat. So you'd think that after removing these two visible screws that this thing should just pop off, but you'd be wrong. This actually has one more plastic screw that's under this shroud. I'll show you guys in a second. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's a KTM. So here's that shroud that I'm telling you about. Pull that back and you'll see right there, there's a plastic screw that is literally just holding on that plastic number plate. Just in case you guys are wondering, to remove these plastic screws on the KTM, it's a 6. It's actually a pretty small screw there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the top plastic screw. It's literally on top of this gas tank here. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to move the shroud out of the way without having to take the shroud completely off. So as you can see, I'm just pulling the shroud out of the way. I have that plastic screw once again. You can see it a little bit better. And I'm just going to remove that. All right, so we got 2 8s here holding on the can. But before I'm going to do that, there's a spring that I'm going to try and remove. That way, once the can is free, all I'll have to do is have the spring already off. These will come out and then the can will slide straight off. So we're going to take that off first. This is the spring that I'm talking about. And it's just a tension spring. So we're just going to use a pair of pliers to get the tension off. Whew, that was a doozy. Next up, we're going to take out these 2 8mm. Now with a little bit of finagle, it should slide out just like that. So just so you guys can get a picture of like what these things look like next to each other, but I can tell you just holding them, the FMF is definitely lighter than this KTM can. It's not huge, but it's noticeable for sure. Then when I rotate this thing over the top, you'll notice the FMF definitely has a wider pipe going into the muffler than the KTM does. There's a little bit more restriction, as you can see right through here. More flow means more power. So before we get to actually putting on the FMF pipe, we have to remove these bushings from the hangers because we're going to use them on the FMF hangers. These things should be pretty easy to take off. So all you got to do to get these spacers off is kind of just grab hold of them, twist them back and forth, and they should just pop off like that. Now, as for the rubber bushing, basically all I did was I used my finger to push in on one side while I pulled on the other, and that should slide out. Here's the FMF pipe, and all we're going to do is put in these rubber grommets into each one of these holes. Now you might need a screwdriver or a flathead to get them in there, but make sure you don't puncture these things. So I have this pretty wide flathead here. I have half of the grommet in. I'm just going to press it down into that hole, and on the other side just make sure that it's flush. Once you have that actually placed in there, you'll get your spacers One spacer on each side. And those literally just pop in like so. All right, rubber grommets and spacers are back on the FMF slip-on. We are now just gonna literally reverse the process of taking off the old muffler. So the easiest way I found to do this is just basically to line up your mounting points to the subframe, and then it just lines up with the header pretty easily. So I'm just gonna line these up. You'll notice the header just needs to be twisted, and boom, it slides in just like that. 8mm are going in. Next, we're gonna go ahead and put back on that tension spring. Next up, we'll put the plastic on. All right, so the plastic is just hanging. We are going to start by doing that pesky 6mm screw right there. Now we are doing the one that I removed just to be able to get the shroud out of the way. Now we'll slide on the seat. And get the seat bolt back in. Last and probably most important, getting that subframe bolt back on the frame. And don't forget to torque it down. So all in all, that took me about an hour. What do you guys think? I think that the gray can and that carbon fiber tip looks absolutely amazing. All right guys, there you go, an FMF slip-on tutorial for my KTM 250 SXF. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to comment down below what I should do next. We'll see you guys on the next one. Later.